What up, what up, what up? It's your girl K.Honesty. Back again with another review because I just finished doing the review for Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3, Episode 6. So now I'm here doing a review of Bel-Air Season 2, Episode 9. So if you haven't seen Bel-Air Season 2, Episode 9, turn this video off and go watch my Power review or one of my Snowfall reviews or my SWV and Escape reviews. And then come back and watch this video. Well, no, go watch Bel-Air Season 2, Episode 9, and then come back and watch this. Or watch one of my other reviews. It don't matter, whatever. Do what makes you happy. Yeah, anything I say, my opinion, my feelings, my expressions does not reflect anyone or anything associated with the show. So if you come on here and I'm saying something you don't agree with, then get the hell off. Or just understand that these are my opinions. Yeah, I'm not a public speaker, so I will tend to I just stuttered. I will tend to stutter, say I might pause to regain my thoughts. You won't hear me say 1,000 times, maybe so 1,000 times. Be looking at my notes over here. Sometimes stuff be too smart-handed for me, so I be just saying it. I be dumbing it down because I ain't that intellectual, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's just how I am. I just be trying to be as real as possible. I love watching these shows and I love talking about them, so that's what I do. Yeah. I usually do smoke during my reviews, but I did just smoke during my Power review, so I'm feeling good right now. You know, I got me some coffee though. I do got me some coffee. I had to make me some coffee. I might pull out one of my little. I might smoke one of my little bony rolling machine J's. I might pull one of those out if I get in the mood. I do got my water too. I be keeping my water by standby, but I got my coffee right now. And I kept saying that every time I do these reviews, my lips do get dry. So I finally remember my chapstick this time. I finally remember my chapstick this time. Now I can get into it without keep licking my lips. All right, so last chance if you haven't seen Bel-Air Season 2, Episode 9, turn this video off because I'm about to spoil the entire episode. I like to grade my episodes before and after my reviews. I'm going to grade this episode what happened this episode? I'm going to give it like a B+, A minus maybe. It is what it is. Because it gave me, I mean, they're doing their thing. I like this modern Bel-Air, but at the same time, it's still like, it's not giving me enough. It ain't making me be like, oh, shit, you know? So, I mean, I guess that's not its intention. But anyway. So this first scene. Let me take one more sip. So remember last episode. They told Will came to Uncle Phil. They both found out Doc was getting paid to put players in certain spots or whatever. So they now Jeffrey, Uncle Phil, and Will, they sitting there, they telling Aunt Viv all this. So she reiterating it back to them. She like, so you know these colleges and agents are willing to pay Doc because he has access to these Zenith players and all that. So Phil was like, well, you know these colleges and agents, they want first dibs on these players. They want first dibs on the best top athletes, and Doc is like the gatekeeper for the next top draft picks. So it's like, and all Doc would have to do is like steer his players in their direction without the players even knowing. So then Jeffrey started to tell them about how Doc had a business partner. His business partner's name was Lorenzo. How ironic. We're just talking about Power and Lorenzo. But the business partner named Lorenzo, he's been determined to take down Doc. He says, what did he say? He said Doc cut his partner off. He says he cut Lorenzo off completely, and now the partner has been like determined to take Doc down. Just that and the third. He says the old partner that Lorenzo has been talking to Doc's players and telling them about how Doc has been profiting off of them. So Bill was like, and the players don't know about this? And it was like, nope. And Will was like, well, that's why Brian left. Brian is the one that Will replaced. Remember, Doc was like, well, Will, you starting? He was like, what happened to Brian? Remember, he went out with Will that night. He was like, don't tell Doc we was with you. So he was like, what? He was like, he told his Aunt Bill, like, that's why Brian left. So Phil was like, well, the players thought Doc was looking out for their best interest, but he was really looking out for self. And Viv was like, Viv, these poor boys. Will, he started apologizing to Uncle Phil, like, man, you was right. He's right about Doc the whole time. I should have listened to you, this, that, and the third. Jeffrey, he be with the shits all the time. He's like, I'd be happy to pay Doc a visit. So it's like, so Will was like, nah. He was like, you once told me being a man was, what'd he say? I wrote it down. Where is it? Oh yeah, he said you once told me real men face hard things. He was like, I need to talk to Doc myself, tell him I'm out, tell him I ain't doing it, I ain't playing no more for him. My ankle itching. Did I get bit by a mosquito? Little babies be like, Skeeto. I got bit by a mosquito. Like, I be thinking that's so cute. So he was like, yeah, I need to talk to him myself, tell him I'm done. Phil was like, okay, I'm gonna let you talk to him, whatever. He's like, but if the situation it becomes like more than a conversation, he was like, I'm gonna have to step in, because at the end of the day, Will's still a child, so he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to step in. Uncle Phil was like, thanks, okay. Will was like, cool, okay, thanks. Jeffrey's still like, I could tag along. Phil was like, nah, we made a promise to Will. Maybe they told Will they was gonna let him be his own man. So he was like, we made a promise to Will to give him the space he needed to make his own choices, so he's gonna let that fly. Jeffrey's like, well, that's admirable of you, man. Because Jeffrey like couldn't have been me. Jeffrey be on that shit. So now we at school, and I must say, Carlton be acting aggy with everybody. Like he gets smart with everybody, even when they don't mean him no harm. He just love to get smart. So he at school, and this the boy come up to him. He's like, hey, have you heard from Connor? Like, it's not like him to miss practice, this, then the third. So Carlton get I put Carlton always getting smart with people. So he get I'm not Connor's babysitter. Like, plus we're not even boys like that anymore. So then he sees the look on the player face. The player face look kind of disappointed. He's like, well, I'm sure. He's like, I'm sure Connor will. He's like, I'm sure Connor's fine. He'll pop up sooner or later. So the boy walks off. Then Carlton, we see that he's been texting Connor, of course, because he still don't know what happened that night when he woke up in his car and his keys and all that while it was gone. So he's still trying to text Connor anyway to try to figure out what happened that night. Fuck about where Connor's at. He want to know what happened that night. So he texted Connor like, where the fuck are you? Where are you? Still texting him or whatever. So as he's texting them, Drew and Lisa, they walking up, and Lisa sees him and kind of like they holding hands. So she kind of like lets go his hand as they see Carlton kind of like walk fast past him. So then Drew mugging him, walking past Carlton mugging him. So Lisa get it's complicated talking to Drew. So Drew get I just can't see how y'all still friends. How could y'all still be friends? So he was like, he back hanging with Connor. We call him that shady ass white boy. He's like, he back hanging with that shady ass white boy. So Lisa was like, Connor, they don't hang out anymore. So Drew was like, well, why did I? And I knew that was gonna come back. Remember the last episode, Drew saw Connor and Carlton talking at Connor's car, Drew was being all nosy. I knew he was gonna end up saying this to somebody. I didn't realize he was gonna be shady and say it to Lisa like that. But he was like, well, why did I see Carlton and Connor drive off from school the other day? I was like, this geeking ass nigga. He just been an asshole. I stopped liking him ever since the bowling alley scene. First, I thought it was cute. He liked Lisa, but he ain't had no chance, I ain't think, because Lisa and Will was kind of like talking. But then he pulled that shit at the bowling alley with Carlton, and I stopped liking him after that. But what Lisa said though, you beat his ass though. So Will he goes to the locker room as he had AAU at Zenith locker room, and he talking to all the players. So he's telling them, like, y'all some of the best players I know. Well, he called them, like, he said y'all some of the coldest hoopers he ever played, he ever ran with, he ever played with, whatever. So he was like, y'all earned that shit, not Doc. So one of the players was like, oh, so you heard, huh? So we was like, yeah, man, he be telling y'all who y'all could talk to, what y'all can and can't do. He was like, y'all saying he's saying he got y'all back, but he don't. He only had himself. He only had his own back. Says he's only looking out for himself. He was like, can't y'all see that? And another player was like, man, you just got here, bro. Like, Will, you just got here. You act like you know everything. So Will was like, oh, so I'm tripping? So tell me what's up. Like, what's going on? He was like, I thought we were starting to feel like family. So another player was like, man, yeah, Doc should have told us about his come up or what he was doing and all that, but all we just want to do is play ball. So the team don't really care. Like, they was like, yeah, Doc gets us results. They say Doc gets us results. So they don't really care what Doc doing. They still getting scouted and all that, so they don't really care if Doc getting the kickback. So Will gets so I guess Brian was the only one with the motherfucking brain, because Brian was the one that decided that he wasn't down for it. So he was like, think about it, y'all. He was like, so somebody was like, there's always more to the story. I don't remember who said that. It was like, always more to the story. So then the player that one that was like, Will, you just got here. He gets the, man, Brian gonna be good. He probably gonna go to UCLA or the pros or something. He gonna be set for life and all that. So then all the players start saying like, Will, you set too? Like, when you leave out of here, you going back to a Bel-Air mansion. You got you a nice whip and all that. It was like, man, we out here. We about to walk to the bus stop. So he's saying all that. It was like, man, at the end of the day, Doc all we got. Like, he the only one that can help us make it to where we want to be at. So they don't really care. In a way, Will doesn't have basketball no more, though. He might have his Bel-Air mansion and his nice car, but he ain't got nothing that he passionate about anymore. So I'm like, maybe, yeah, so I'm going to wait till I get to my end of the review and do my predictions. So Erica, the broad that stole Phil's client, and apparently they used to talk. So she pops up at the Bel-Air mansion on Viv. And first of all, she barges right in. Like, Viv don't even get the chance to invite her in. So I'm immediately thinking, like, this got to be like, because she did say they was close. She said they was like sisters. They was line sisters or something like that. So I'm like, they must have had this sisterly bond to where some of this shit can fly. Because if this was regular, like, stuff like that wouldn't fly with regular, like, if they wasn't that close. They had to be some type of close for stuff like this to fly. There's even stuff that they say in this conversation, and I'd be like, she letting this fly? But anyway, she barges right in. Don't even give Viv the chance to let her in. Yeah, I even wrote Viv's character seems passive. Because it's not the only scene where Viv seems super passive. She seems like a passive. Her character seems very passive. And Aunt Viv was nothing like that. Especially dark skin Aunt Viv. But, so Erica gets, I didn't mean to interrupt, and hands Viv some flowers. And she was like, these for you. So Viv was like, well, you could have saved your little gas and sent this through a flower delivery service. And I was in my head like, the price of a flower delivery service is probably the same price that it would take of gas money for her to get where she came from to the Bel-Air mansion. But anyway, but you get what Viv was saying. It's like, basically, you could have sent this shit and I ain't had to see your face. But, he's like, you could have saved your little gas and just do a flower delivery service. And Erica was like, well, how else would I be nosy and find out where you live? And I was just like, see, this broad is weird. Like, I don't like her. She throwing me off. So she was like, how else could I be nosy and find out where you live? Yeah, this is where I wrote, they must have been real close, because that's the only way I see Viv letting this shit slide. I wrote that, yeah. So Viv gets the, well, yeah, I may have peeked at your, I may have peeked on IG at your penthouse a couple of times or whatever. So they chuckle about that. So then Erica was like, well, in all seriousness, it's long overdue. I feel like I should apologize to you for the past. This, that, and the third. I'm like, girl, you only apologizing now because you want Phil to work for your firm. That's the only reason you apologizing now, because y'all just crossed paths. Where was this apology back in the past? Or when was it years ago? When y'all, like, she said it's been years since y'all seen each other, whatever. So then Viv gets the, we were young. It was like, no, don't say that. Like, let her apologize. You saying she took your man and all that. Like, nah, y'all supposed to be like sisters? Something, yeah, we were young, no. So then Erica was like, well, yes, well, I did excuse it back in college. I can be grown enough now to admit it, to own it. I was like, girl, whatever. So she apologizes again. I wrote, does Viv buy it, though? Does Vivian buy it? I hope not, shit. So now we get this board meeting, and it's Phil and Jamie. Jamie is Phil's partner, or James. I don't know which one. But it's a board meeting, and it's not just them two, it's the whole board now. So they having a meeting about the acquisition. So Phil's not happy with the deal that was presented. He's totally upset. He's like, damn, they trying to fire our entire staff. So Jamie's like, well, that's how an acquisition works. He's like, we knew there would be some employee layoffs, and Phil was like, well, they not just employees, they're families. Like, they got bills, they got kids, this, that, and the third. So the board members like, look, we know that, but tough decisions have to be made. So then one of the other board members says, well, Winter Cremation and Associates, they're offering us a deal. They're the best option right now. Phil was like, nah, I don't want to deal with them because they already control too much of us as it is. It's like they control our compensation, our benefits, clients, this, that, and the third. Phil was like, look, we need a new plan. We need a new plan. Figure out something new. His partner Jamie hops up. He's like, look, it ain't no new plan. He's like, have you seen our numbers? Like, they not what we thought they would be. He was like, signing this deal is how we survive. It's how we keep afloat. We stay afloat. So Phil was like, so we just going to take the shit that they throw at us? We just going to eat the shit that they throw at us? So he started addressing the room. He's like, since when did we start operating from a place of fear? So then his partner Phil was like, since when did we start operating from a place of fear? His partner was like, well, since we lost the Garrison account, since we lost our biggest client. The one that Erica took. So then he gets because we lost our biggest client largely because, and then Phil cuts him off and was like, because of me. So then Jamie was like, well, I wasn't going to say that. Phil was like, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say it. So then Jamie says, look, we lost our leverage, and the board doesn't like it neither, but this is what we are. Like, we lost our leverage, so this is what we are. So Phil was like, so what happens when they realize that our small clients don't bring in as much income, or what happens when they disagree with the type of cases that we should have, or we should do, or that we should take? He was like, they're not just acquiring our firm, they dismantling our legacy. He was like, if we sign this, I won't even recognize us anymore. He was like, tell Whitman, Mason, and Associates they can kiss my ass. I was like, ooh, okay. So Phil is back with a vengeance. He back at his firm and he trying to take over now. He like, fuck all that shit y'all was planning before I came back. So we back with Viv and Erica, and Viv's giving Erica a tour of the house at the Bel-Air mansion. Something I didn't think giving a tour would be on my bucket list. I was just like, what? But anyway, Erica was like, I appreciate this tour because, I'm dying to get in that hot tub. It's calling my name. I'm just like, see, they must have had a strong friendship. Cause so Viv was like, yeah, me and Joan, we get in there almost every other weekend, something like that. So Erica gets you and Joan are still friends, so I'm assuming it's someone they all knew, mutual friend. So Viv was like, yeah, of course. And Erica was like, oh, I've been so caught up in my career for so long, I don't have no girlfriends. Viv was like, well, you need a sisterhood. She was like, they've been with me through parenting, marriage, divorce, this, that, and the third. Erica was like, well, I got divorce covered. She was like, and career too. And Viv was like, well, she was like, Lord knows I can use some career clarity. So I'm like, I know she ain't about to take some advice from this damn broad that's trying to take her man. So she gets, Lord knows I can use some clarity on my career right now. So Erica gets, oh yeah, try me. So Viv tells her about the job offer she's been offered the executive director at a little fellowship thing. So she was like, but I'd be taking it from another black woman that I don't think she said black woman. I think she just says I'll be taking it from somewhere else, from someone else. And Erica was like, look, that's not on you. She said if that person was doing their job right, they wouldn't have had to come to you for the job, and all that. Which is true. Like, And why even feel sorry for this woman? She was sending you the bad reviews about your work and saying your work was this, that, and the third and all that. So it's like, no. Take her spat. Show her that you was doing something good. Then she says, especially, she's like, when she thinks about how much disrespect we get, especially as black women, it's like, I stopped giving consideration to people who don't have the same for her. So, yeah. Stop having sympathy or consideration for people that don't think the same way for you. So then Uncle Phil and Jeffrey walk in the house. Jeffrey's like, you ain't been answering your phone? So Phil was like, nah, why? So they walk up and they see Erica and Viv talking. Phil was like, oh, this is a pleasant surprise. I don't think he says pleasant. He's like, this is a surprise. And Erica was like, well, just like old times. Cheesing and shit. I was like, this bitch up to something. Like, she's so annoying. So now we got Lisa and Will talking. Because, you know, they wasn't cool at first because she was like, I just can't be your friend. But then she needed a ride to the hospital because her stepmother was giving birth. So they kind of got back on cool terms then because she called them her friends. Like, are we friends now? But, so now they back cool talking. So they talking about Carlton. They talking about how Carlton's hanging back with Connor. So Will like, what you want to do, an intervention or something? So Lisa was like, well, I was just hoping that you and Carlton would put your differences to the side like we did. And talk to him. You talk to him for it. Talk to him. So Will was like, why won't you talk to him? So apparently Will didn't know. Oh yeah, they did get into a little. Yeah, Carlton and Lisa. Yeah, Carlton and Lisa was getting into a tiffy because he came to her about. So she was like, well, you know, we got into an argument because remember Carlton tried to tell Lisa that Drew was the one that leaked the video of Connor saying nigga. But he was like, yeah, we got into an argument because he tried to say Drew leaked the video. So that's when in this moment Will tells Lisa like, look, I told him to tell you that because I didn't think you would believe him coming from me. So then Lisa gets to, come on, man, y'all really think Drew leaked the video? Will was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, he did. He was like, Drew be on some diabolical shit. We calls him Captain Lightskin. He say Captain Lightskin be on some diabolical shit. He's like, you just don't want to see it. He tells Lisa like, you just don't want to see it because you like him. So then Lisa gets to, oh, well, damn, he was the one that told me about the Connor and Carlton hanging out situation. So Will gets to, you don't think he using that? I mean, you don't think he playing his own game? You don't think Drew playing his own game? So Lisa tried to change the subtext, talking about some, how did we get here? Like, we're both at odds with Carlton. Like, how did we get here? She's like, we should be looking out for each other. Will was like, look, I'm done. He was like, I'm done looking out for Carlton. He was like, Carlton to throw you under the bus any chance he gets, believe me. He was like, but when it comes down to the Drew situation, he was like, if it comes down to his word against Drew, he definitely gonna ride for his cousin. So we already know, regardless of the circumstances, Will gonna ride for Carlton regardless. He tells Lisa like, you should do the same, because you knew him before you knew Drew. So then they get this quick cutaway saying that Carlton still texting Connor, calling Connor not answering. And she got yawn all loud. I don't know if y'all heard that, but my mother yawning loud as hell. But yeah, so Carlton, he's still texting Connor not responding. Oh, I forgot all about this little storyline. So now we get this storyline, Hillary's storyline. So Abby's back. She's been gone a couple episodes. We hadn't seen her since Hillary came to her about the Simply Spike deal. And she turned it down. Was like, no, this house is going to be Ivy Water, whatever the fuck. Ivy 2.0, whatever. So she back at it's not the influencer's house. Y'all see I just transition from my coffee to my water? I just do that. I don't care. I'm done with the coffee. The coffee got warm anyway. So I'm on my water. Like I said, I might spark my little Bony Tony up. I don't know. I might. But, so yeah. So they not at the influencer's house. They're at LaMarcus's house, which is Hillary's ex-famous football player boyfriend or whatever. So they're at his house. They throwing this type of football collab party or whatever. And Abby, like, giving her props to Hillary. She's like, this was a good idea. It's going to get our content up. Girl, this is a smart idea, whatever. Hillary was like, well, I'm glad I had to walk on water to finally get you, to make you a believer or whatever she said at the Ivy. So I thought that was funny. So then, it's the other two little influencer girls that they be showing all the time. The one that came in Hillary's room after she broke up with Jazz, tried to cheer her up and all that. And they was like, you don't cook for us anymore. Like, we're hungry. So them two. So one of them was like, well, are we about to get like a tutorial on football? We about to get like a football tutorial? And then the other one says, like, who cares? As long as people like watch, like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Why don't y'all do that right quick while y'all here? Go ahead, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification link, comment, all that stuff. You know, get my content up there. So yeah, she was like, who cares? As long as they watch, like, share, subscribe, and all that. I was like, and who knows? Like, maybe I could get me a baller boyfriend to put me up on the billboard like Hillary. So I'm thinking at this moment, oh, Ivy about to be a hater, talk mad shit or whatever, or try to say something smart. But at this moment, she don't even do too much. It wasn't even like nothing to her. She might be low key jealous, but she not like jealous in a mean way, mean spirited way. So she was like, okay, like my boyfriend like Hillary put me on the billboard. So Hillary was like, well, this is simply professional partnership. So the Ivy and the other girls is not buying that shit. Hillary's like, that is my ex, and we are just friends. So then LaMarcus walks over there and was like, there's my girl, and kisses her on the cheek, and she lights up like a little schoolgirl. So I'm like, I can't tell, and even the roommate's looking like, I can't tell. So I'm like, girl, I don't know what's happening at this moment. So he like, there's my girl. So Hillary was like, well, thank you so much for making all this happen. So then she introduces LaMarcus to Ivy and the other two ladies. Tells them, so Ivy get the, well, since you passing out billboards, you can go ahead and pass one this way. I said, Ivy gonna try her hand, y'all. She was trying her hand. She said, go ahead and pass one this way. So then LaMarcus tells Hillary, you know, like, everything's set up. The house is yours. However you want to do it, you do it however you want. He's like, if you need me, call me, anything. You know how that go. You know how that go. He kisses her on the cheek again. Hillary lights up like a little schoolgirl again. So he walks away. You know how Ivy and the friends, they looking like, oh, so he's just a friend, huh? They say, oh, he's just a friend, huh? So the other girl was like, do he know that? Like, does he know that? Hillary was like, look, I'm done with y'all. She walk away. Because she's still kind of like low-key upset that her and Jazz not together no more. She kind of looking at her phone or whatever. So Ivy notices this and she's like, Hillary, what's wrong or whatever. So she tells her, like, you know, today is the day of Jazz's little meet and greet at his store. And, you know, I put it together for him. It's a big day for him. This, that, and the third. So Ivy gets the, you know, it's a big day for you too. It's like, Jazz is in the past. You just need to worry about, focus on the future right now. I was like, girl, you was just up on Jazz too. And then she had to let you know that was her man. But either way. So then Phil, we flash to Phil and Viv. And like I said, aesthetically, I don't know if I'm using the word right, but aesthetically, they make a good looking couple. Even though that's why I said the casting was so good on this jump. Like, they make a good ass looking couple. So they talking, Phil and Viv. So he's telling her he's glad that she and Erica are finding ways to be friends again. He happy that they had the conversation. Viv was like, I don't know about that, like being friends again. She's like, I don't know about all that. She was like, I see where it goes. So Phil was like, baby steps. So Viv was like, I will give you, she's a badass businesswoman. I will give you that. He was like, she even got me thinking about taking the job offer. So Phil was like, it is a great opportunity. He was like, it's a great opportunity. He was like, I wish I could say the same for this acquisition. So Viv was like, damn, it's that bad? See, you know, he's talking about, you know, they married, talking about their jobs. So Phil gets like, yeah, we in a tough position. We need to make a move before it be too late. He was like, he's telling her Jamie wants to roll over, but he doesn't. So Viv was like, well, what about Erica's offer? Like, her firm is offering you everything you want. Like, why you don't just go there? So Phil was like, yeah, I get that. But, like, he was like, well, what do you feel about that? I'd be working around Erica, you know, things like that. So he's like, how do you feel about it? So Viv was like, look, believe me, I got my eyes on Erica. So I was like, yo, she better. Because that woman wants her man still. So she was like, yeah, don't worry, I got my eyes on him. So then she get all up on him, sits on her man lap. I was like, see, they make such a good looking couple, man. She gets all up on him. She was like, I just want you. And she started kissing him. Make the best decision for you and your future. I was like, yes, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. They make such a good looking couple. Like super hot. Super hot. If I was in my 40s and they was swinging, I see you swinging. Anyway, shit. So, we back at the little football collab party, and Ashley's she's there. She's like, I'm reporting for duty. I'm here to assist, big sis. So Hillary tell her, like, just make sure the food and drinks good. Make sure nothing go haywire. Make sure everything go good. Make sure everything stays stocked. So Ashley asks if it's I guess it's some content creator, like famous content creator that's supposed to have been coming. So she asked, her name's Sloan Jones. She was like, is Sloan Jones still coming? And Hillary was like, yeah, she's our 5th player. Because apparently the girls going to be going against the guys. LaMarcus and his teammates, going to be going against Hillary and her influencer girls and Abby and them. So she was like, yeah, she's our 5th player. So Ashley was like, well, I can't wait to meet her. She's a teen TikTok's icon. Hillary was like, and not to mention she has 4 million followers. That's the only reason Hillary won her ass there. She got them 4 million followers, and we needs that. So Ashley was like, well, I just love how she uses her platform to, like, talk about the issues, misogyny, and women's rights, protecting the planet, this, that, and the third. She's like, I watch her videos all the time. Hillary's like, well, look, why you nerding out? She's like, why you nerding out? Go start doing what I told you to do. Go get to work. So now we get this scene, Doc confronts Will. He's like, you wasn't at practice, young blood. He's like, you gotta see, I could tell you got something on your mind. He was like, I thought you might want to say it to me instead of going to the locker room talking to my players or whatever. So Will gets to, I trusted you. And Doc was like, I ain't never lied to you. He was like, I told you what I'll tell all my players, that I want them to reach their dreams, and that I'm going to help them reach their dreams and turn them into a savage on the court. He was like, did I not do that? So Will gets to, why should I believe you, though? So Doc was like, come on, man, you can't be that naive. He was like, what's happening at Zenith right now is nothing new that hasn't been happening in college sports for years, like the bribes and the paying off the coaches and all that. So Will gets to, man, when I signed with you, I was so proud to call you my coach. I called my moms and all that because I knew I'd be signing with a, no, he said, because I knew I needed to believe that someone like you, a real one, called him a real one, someone that, he said someone that didn't come from much, the type that get overlooked from where he came from, the kind that can handle the business and still be connected to the streets. He was like, I thought that was you. He was like, I wanted to look at you and say, that's my guy. He was like, but now I know you just another nigga that just trying to hustle his way to the... He said, now I feel stupid because you just another nigga that's trying to hustle their way to the top. He was like, and I'm not naive. I know that shit happens, this, that, and the third. He was like, I just wanted you to be better than that. I want you to be better than the type of shit that happens or whatever, So after all this time, Carlton been hitting up Connor trying to reach him or whatever, he gets home, and Aunt Viv is sitting down with Carlton and... I'm not saying sitting down with Carlton. Aunt Viv is sitting down with Connor and Connor's mom. So Carlton come in and he's like, what the hell's going on? So Viv was like, all right, Carlton, yeah, come on, have a seat so we can talk about what really happened what really happened the other night. Talking about the night that Carlton came home. I mean, that she had to come pick Carlton up. I said I was going to spark one of my little bony Tonys, so I'm definitely about to do it. Where am I? So Jeffrey sits down. He like, so Viv's like, let's talk about what really happened that night. So Jeffrey was like, so Viv was like, well, Jeffrey suggested we call Connor's parents so we get down to the bottom of this, and the third. So Carlton like, oh, how thoughtful of you, Jeffrey. And Jeffrey was like, my pleasure. They, Carlton go the whole time. So Jeffrey like, my pleasure. So Connor's mom is like, well, I'm glad Jeffrey called because I want to know why Connor came home in the middle of the night and why his father's watch is missing, why his father's Patek Philippe is missing, his Rolex or whatever it was. So this whole scene, Connor's like disrespecting his mom, And it's funny because in the end, he kind of like gives the utmost respect to Viv. So that's how you know white dude, they don't be playing when it comes to talking to their black friends, their black moms. Because I was just talking about this on Power. How Braden just be rolling over for Tariq because he is his black friend. So you know they be having some fear. But in this whole part, he talking to his mom like anything. So he said, "This is ridiculous. I told you why I came home so late, Mom." She was like, "Yes, you told me that you and Carlton went after school and got some beers and not get beers. Not get beers." She said, "Yeah, you told me you and Carlton went out after school and got robbed." So Viv was like, "Got robbed?" She looked at Carlton like, "Got robbed?" But she says, she looks at Carlton, she's like, "Well, Carlton didn't tell me nothing like that." She's like, "Carlton didn't mention that." So Carlton, one thing I will say about Carlton, he is sticking to his story that he lost his memory, that he don't remember what happened. So he's sticking to that story. So he tells Viv and his mom, he like, "Well, you know, he said, I already told you my story." He was like, "Me and Connor got beers." And then Viv was like, "With Connor's fake ID." And then Connor's mom looked at Connor and was like, "Fake ID?" Connor started stuttering. He was like, "Well," and then he was like, "Well, not anymore." Like, no more fake ID now. Shit. So Carlton continues to start saying, "Look, me and Connor, we got drunk. Then we went our separate ways. And then I had a medical emergency, so I pulled my car over, started walking, and I got disoriented, forgot where I parked." You know, he's still sticking to his story for the most part. He was like, "And that's what led me to calling you. Calling Aunt Viv, saying that to Aunt Viv." So Carlton was like, "That's the story and it's the truth." And the whole time this is happening, this whole meetup with the moms or whatever, Carlton and Connor are making hella guilty faces at each other and in general. So Viv asked Connor, she's like, "So what do you have to say to what Carlton just said?" So Connor gets to stuttering and all that. He gets to, he was like, "Well, that's not my story." So I'm thinking in this moment, like, oh shit, like Connor about to roll out bomb out Carlton. So then he starts to say exactly what Carlton said. He just changes up what happened after they separated. Well, they didn't technically separate. Well, they did separate technically. Carlton passed out or whatever, but. So he gets to basically saying what Carlton said. He was like, he lied. So Carlton drops his head because Connor was like, "That's not my story. I lied." So Carlton drops his head like, "Oh my God, this nigga about to tell the truth." So Connor says, "Well, me and Carlton did hang out. We did get beers." He's like, "We did go our separate ways." So Carlton's like, "Okay, bet." Like, you basically just telling on yourself. So Connor's mom was like, "So what did you do, Connor? What did you do after you separated?" So Connor was like, "Look, man, I met up with this girl that she wouldn't approve of, mom." So his mom was like, "Sydney?" Connor was like, "Yes, Mom, Sydney." So Connor's mom was like, "Oh my God." So she kind of buying it now. She buying the story now. So Viv was like, "So that was worse than saying that you got robbed?" So Connor's mom was like, "Well, she's a high school dropout that works at CVS." So we already know what's worse in Connor's mom's mind than him getting robbed. So Connor was like, "Well, this is why I lied to you, because you just go all ape shit for no reason, like just saying this to his mom." So the mom was like, "Because I'm fucking exhausted." So they start going back and forth, Connor and his mom. Viv and Carlton looking at each other like, "Oh, shit, this is wild ass shit." Like, they looking at each other like wild as hell. So Viv get to ask, she was like, "So what happened to your father's watch?" She asked Connor that. "What happened to your father's watch?" So Connor's like, "Well, I must have left it at Sydney's place last night or whatever." Connor's mom was like, "Did you at least use protection?" Connor's like, "Gosh, Mom, I'm not fucking stupid." So I was just like, and then in this moment he turns to Viv and says, "Anyway, Mrs. Banks, as you can see," I was like, damn, the switch up. He code switched being a white dude. So he gets the, "Anyway, Mrs. Banks, as you can see, Carlton was telling the absolute truth." I'm surprised Connor covered for him, because he wasn't really fucking with Connor. But I guess Connor wants that friendship back low-key. So he was like, "As you can see, Carlton was telling the truth." He was like, "I was just trying to cover my own ass." And he was like, bottom. So he was just like super scared of Viv. And not even his own mom. So then his mother get his mom get oh, these kids are something else, right, Viv? So Viv look at Carlton like she ain't buying the shit, but she just like, they are, looking at Carlton. So as they walking them out, Carlton and Viv walking out, calling on his mom. Will's coming in, he see them. He looking at Carlton, they giving the mean mug to each other, you know. So now we back at the football collab party. And LaMarcus, his teammates done walked in. They use a little slow-mo. Because you know some fine black men, they do the slow-mo. Even Abby looking like, ooh, touchdown. She say something flirty. I don't remember what she said exactly. She's like, I love to be a player on that team. Something she say like that. So they come over there. LaMarcus, he introducing his teammates to Hillary and Abby and the girls and stuff. So Abby was like, come on, fellas, let's go huddle up. So the girls and Abby, they walk away with the teammates. So LaMarcus and Hillary, they right there. He says to Hillary, he's like, I know I hope I didn't overwhelm you the other night with all that I said. Because the other night he told her he wanted her back and all that. So Hillary was like, yeah. She was like, no, but she was like, I thought it was sweet. She was like, I'm super appreciative of the event today, of this event today. But LaMarcus could still see some sort of hesitation on her face. So he's like, so he says, is there something else on your mind? He asked her, is there something else on her mind? She was like, look, I don't want you to think I'm using you for what you can do to me, like I'm superficial or something like that. She was like, look, I know you're not like that. He's like, I'm not doing all this to get back with you. But then he sneaks in, but I mean, unless it's going to work. So you know where he's staying at. And they laugh about it, they chuckle about it. But then he was like, all right, well, how about this today? We just make it about fun, no pressure, see how it go, whatever. And Hillary was like, well, I would like that. So they walking away. Hillary, she hesitates on should she text Jazz, like at least say congratulations on the meet and greet, text him at all, anything, but she ultimately doesn't do it. So now we got this thing that I don't like, because I feel like this thing could have been a phone conversation, or at least Viv could have been there. So Erica and Phil, they having lunch. Where is Vivian? I don't know. I mean, I get it that it's business and Viv don't need to be there, but I feel like this also could have been a phone conversation or a Zoom call, something. So they having lunch. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. Especially after how this lunch meeting ends. So she asked Phil, like, please tell me you accepted our offer, you considered our offer. So Phil was like, after giving it some thought, I've decided that it would be a good fit. So Erica like, oh, I'm so happy to hear that. The partners are gonna be super excited to hear that, and you know they're gonna do whatever they can to close the deal fast. So then she get you played really hard to get. I hate the little way she be wording stuff. So she's like, you played really hard to get, but I'm glad you reconsidered. She's talking, I guess that visit with Viv helped, huh? So Phil get what you mean? What do you mean by that? So Erica was like, well, I was hoping once things were smoothed over with Viv and I, she'd give you the space to make a clear-headed decision. So I was just in that moment, I was just like, she was like, and here you are. And I was just like, in this moment, like, she trying to make it seem like Phil can't make his own decisions without Viv. So she tried to make it seem like she went over there to smooth it out to make Viv give him the best decision. And it's just like, no, they marry, and that's what a real marriage does. They talk about stuff, and they make the best decisions for themselves and their marriage, and this, that, and the third. It don't make it seem like he can't make a decision without Viv, like he ain't got no balls. I ain't like that. But she said that in this moment. And Phil don't even say nothing about it, but I just felt like that she irritated me with that. I already don't like you, and then you saying stuff like this. So then Phil was like, well, here I am, but he was like, I do have a few requests. And he was like, a very big one, actually. So he was like, the request that I asked for when we first met, when we first had that first lunch, when you caught me off guard, I didn't know it was going to be you. So she get you talking about the Garrison account. I don't know if it's called the Garrison or the Garrison account. Sometimes I hear them say Garrison. Sometimes I hear them say Garrison. He's like, you talking about the Garrison account. So Phil was like, yep. So they chuckling. He was like, I hope you didn't think I forgot. So they chuckling about that. She was like, oh, I'm going to make the call. She was like, whatever it takes. So Phil was like, okay, I look forward to the negotiation. He gets up, tries to give her a handshake. So she gets to, come on, we could do better than that. And like opens her arms and give him a hug. So they hug. And as they hugging, her face, like you can see her face, she makes like a face of ecstasy. And that's what I got from it. And I was just like, see, this bitch is sneaky. And then as they like pulling away, like they disembracing from the hug, her face is like near his ear and she says, this is going to be good. And I was just like, see, like this is, I don't like that. Like when she first met with him at lunch or something, I can't remember, she said something else sneaky. She was like, I always get what I want or something she said like that. Even in this jump, you was playing really hard to get. And I'm just like, she's so annoying. I get that that's like a little fake business term, but like, no. This is going to be good. Oh, in his ear. And I'm just like, I hope Phil don't fall for that. Because now he got to work with this broad, so it's going to be weird. So now we get this scene, Will and, this thing was funny to me. I'm sorry. I be laughing at serious situations, but Will, he comes at Carlton. He going off on Carlton. He like, man, you said you ain't want nothing to do with Connor and his bullshit. Didn't you say that? So Carlton's like, it's not what you think, man. It's not what you think. So this part was funny. Will was like, he said, so you passed out and you lost your car. He was like, damn, Carlton, aren't you tired of the lies? Because shit, I am. I thought that part was so funny. He said, aren't you tired of the lies, Carlton? Because shit, I am. Like, Will was tired. He's like, I'm tired of covering for you. And getting caught in the process. And then I'm getting in trouble for it, too. So Carlton gets the look. I know shit fucked up for you right now. I heard about what happened with Zena. Dad told me, da-da-da. We'll get to this. This ain't about me. We ain't talking about me right now. Carlton was like, you sure? Because it sure feel like we talking about you. So then Will gets to, you back on that stuff? You back on that stuff again? So he starts storming in Carlton's bedroom. Carlton trying to stop him. Talking about, what are you doing, Will? What are you doing? Carlton storming his room. Will storming Carlton's room, started ransacking through his stuff. As he ransacking through Carlton's stuff, he's like, man, I thought things was going to be different when I came back. Remember, he was staying with Jazz for a little while. I don't even know how long it was. Because, like, I guess it was one episode and then he moved back. I think the season came on and he moved back. I don't remember. So he was like, yo, I thought things was going to be different when I came back. He's like, we were supposed to be boys. He was like, Kings of Bel-Air. You remember that shit? And he was just saying all that stuff. Like, you was supposed to have my back and vice versa. He's like, but instead, I'm standing 10 toes down for a nigga that puts himself first every time. This whole time, he's still saying this. He's still going through Carlton shit. Carlton, at this point, I feel like he was getting close because Carlton's like, stop, Will, stop. He's like, stop, listen. He's like, look, I'm going to tell you to your fucking face, I'm not on drugs. So he's telling him, I'm not on drugs. Then he was like, I did lie about hanging out with Connor. Yeah, I did lie about that. Then he started saying like, and I made a stupid pass at Lisa. Which was random as hell in the situation. And even Will Face was like, what? He was like, I made a stupid pass at Lisa and got my feelings all up and caught up in it. Got caught up with my feelings. But then he was like, Connor was just there, man. He was just there. So Will was like, man, you should have called me. And then, you know, remember the last time Will was like, I don't want to hear your fucking apologies. Or your apologies don't mean shit. So he was like, yeah, you remember last time I talked to you, you said your apology didn't mean shit to me. Remember? So he was like, another thing Connor didn't do was like project all his bullshit onto me. He was like, just because you can't trust your coach and your little girlfriend. Will was like, who, Jackie? And Carlton was like, yeah, you need to be projecting all this onto her. So I'm in my head like, do Carlton know something that we don't? Because we know Jackie's sneaky. Like, Doc put her on to Will to, like, get him to be a part of Zenith. But she supposedly catching real feelings for him. So now she messing with him. But she's still sneaky. So I was like, how do Carlton know this? But he was like, yeah, you need to be projecting all your bullshit onto her. So Will was like, okay, whatever. He was like, keep bullshitting because you ain't hurt nobody but yourself. He's like, keep bullshitting. So then the influencer girls, we back at the football collab house. The influencer girls, they telling Hillary that the girl Sloan Jones, that one that Ashley was so excited to meet, they was like, she not coming. She ended up getting another gig or something like that. So Hillary was like, what the hell? Like, we were playing 5-on-5. Like, who else gonna fit the costume? She was petite. So then Ashley walk out. Hillary was like, bingo, like her face, bingo. She says, Ashley, remember when I said I may need your help with anything and everything? Any and everything? Then they flash to the game starting. Ashley not feeling the outfit. And I remember a scene, I don't know if it was in season 1, when Ashley was talking to Hillary about Mike being queer. But in this moment, she definitely says, she was like, as a person who identifies as queer, this outfit is, and she says something like that. So now we know Ashley identifies as queer. So I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking, she gonna start talking to the little girl that she thought snitched on Big Ashley, but now they friends. Who knows? Give Ashley more scenes. That's why I said this. But so now the game starts and girls against his guys. Hillary makes like a little touchdown. And, you know, like Marcus, he's like, that's my girl. She hop up on him. They jumping, celebrating. You know, people, they taking pictures, video recording and all that. So I'm thinking in my head like, oh, this going to immediately get back to Jazz. But he's like, that's my girl. So the game keep going. They still celebrating. They kind of all up on each other. The cheeses and eye winks and kisses and stuff flying back and forth. Little air, whatever, you know, all that stuff. And people still recording. So then they flash to this little quick scene. Viv calls the, I guess the head of directors, whatever they are. Tells them, the head of board members, I don't know what they are. I don't know the names and stuff. But she tells them, like, yeah, I'm going to accept the executive director position. So I'm like, way to go, Viv. Shoot, fuck that bitch and her feelings. Do what's best for you. Because people been playing with Viv. I don't like it. And Viv's super passive, so I don't like it. So do your thing, Viv. I ain't mad at you. Do your thing. So Hillary's she watching Jazz's live. And the meet and greet looks super packed. He on that jump. He with like this well-known group. I don't know, I forgot the group's name. I guess they did like support, and they telling everybody to come out and support his shop and whatever, his music shop and all that. They telling everybody come through. Ashley come out, catch Hillary. She's like, oh, you stalking Jazz's page, huh? Stalking Jazz's IG page, huh? Hillary was like, I'm not stalking, I'm just supporting. Ashley was like, it's okay if you miss him. Hillary was like, I don't miss him. Ashley was like, well, I'm pretty sure he misses you. And Hillary was like, why would you say that? And he was like, well, shit, he ain't had no social media. He ain't care about social media before he got with you, before y'all got together. And she was like, why else would he be broadcasting? She was like, you're obviously sending the best signal. That was funny. So Hillary tried to change the subject. She was like, look, I know you don't want to admit it, but you had fun today, didn't you? So she tried to change the subject. And she was like, yeah, I had fun. And Hillary, she was like, I love how passionate you are about things, but don't forget to be a kid and still have fun, this, that, and the third. She's like, that's what I love about you, how passionate you are. But like, just don't forget to have fun and be a kid. And she was like, thanks, big sis. You know, they had a little big sis moment. So then Hillary, she's still looking at her phone, debating on whether to reach out to Jazz on that. As she looks up from her phone, Lamarck is staring at her ass. And then he winks at her. And I'm just like, oh, Lord. She's still cheesing, too, like a smile girl. Like a schoolgirl. So I'm just like, I said a smile girl. But, yeah. So, Phil goes to Jamie with the proposal, I'm assuming from Erica's firm. He looking it over. Phil's like, what you think? And Jamie like, well, shoot, I see no employee cuts, no salary cuts, equity for the partners. I see nothing wrong with this. Everything look good. He's like, he even got the Garrison account back. So Phil was like, yeah. He was like, it's a $12 million book of business. He's like, now Whitaker, Mason, and Associates won't have no other choice but to accept our terms. So then Jamie was like, well, it's a good thing I didn't tell him you said kiss your ass, right? It's like, good thing, huh? So Jamie daps up Phil. He's giving him props like, yeah, you got this deal. It's nice. So then Phil get the will. It is a compromise in order to make this deal. So Jamie like, oh, shit. He's like, who do we have to give up? So Phil paused. He's like, me, man. He was like, I agreed to join Erica at Carson and Lake. That's the name of the firm. So Jamie was like, what are you talking about? Like, what you mean? So Phil was like, that was the deal to get the Garrison account. So Jamie was like, well, no deal then. He was like, it's no company without you. Like, we basically just got you back. That's wild as hell. See, that's not what we agreed to 20 years ago when the three of us, them two and they dead partner, deceased partner, started this company. He was like, that's not what I'm about to do today. He was like, you the face of the firm, not me. He's like, it's never been me. So Phil gets to like, when he left, when he left to run for DA, he was like, Jamie, you single-handedly ran the firm, like you could do it. He's giving him his props. Like, you the one. He said, yeah, you the one that's going to lead this legacy, and you're going to take all the employees with you. He was like you said before, moving in the future doesn't always look like we thought. So it just didn't end like we thought it was going to end. He was like, this is that future. He was like, we're going to have to cross the finish line for. He was like, you're going to have to cross the finish line for all of us. He's like, it's your time. He tells Jamie this because he ain't got no choice. And it's a good deal. So Will, he pop up to Jazz meet and greet. Jazz low-key looking to see if Hillary with him the whole time. So Jazz, he introducing Will to the artist, the group that's there. Will already knew who they was, though. He was like, oh, I know who y'all are, whatever. He telling Jazz, like, this Joan lit. The meet and greet's dope. Jazz like, well, you know, this was all Hillary idea. He's still checking the door and all that. Will notices that. He's like, well, you know, the night's still young. She might still pop up. You know, might still come through. Jazz like, well, you know, I ain't tripping. You know, I'm gonna stay dripped down regardless. Dripped out regardless. I ain't know what the fuck that meant. Because I thought dripped out mean, like, outfit. But he was like, you know, I stay dripped out regardless. But I'm thinking in this moment it means, you know, I'm gonna stay cool regardless, whatever. So then Jackie walks in. They both see Jackie, Jazz, and Will. And Jazz was like, you still need my place tonight? You know, that little bro code type stuff. Will was like, yeah. So Jazz give him his keys. Jackie walk up, and Will introduces Jazz and Jackie. I didn't know that Jazz and Jackie never met. I thought they met when Jazz dropped Will and Carlton off to the little party that Jackie was at in Inglewood, whatever it was. But I don't know. I guess they just met. He was like Inglewood, Crenshaw, Inglewood. I can't remember the places he said. Might have said Compton, South Central Compton. I can't remember. But he introduces Jackie and Jazz. So now Jackie and Jazz, I said Jackie and Jazz because I just said Jackie and Jazz. But Jackie and Will, they in Jazz's place. I'm assuming it's right. Does he live under his music shop or over it? Somewhere close because you can still hear the music from the meet and greet. So they in there hugging up. He's like, thank you for coming. She's like, that's all I get. A hug and kiss, whatever. So you can tell Will's not like the dude that she probably used to. So he already, you know, and you could tell the type of dude Will is. Will is like about character. He has character. And he has respect. Not saying that all dudes not like that. I'm just saying like you could tell Will is one of the dudes that's not like that. So he says in this moment, he's like, no, I ain't even bring you here for all of that. So she was like, okay. And she looked kind of irritated. So I'm like, you little thirsty little thirsty trick. So she was like, so why we here then? But also I'm just still thinking like she just trying to steer away from why she's low-key setting them up. Not setting them up, but like working with her uncle, whatever. So he was like, I want to hear your side of the Zaynab situation. So she was like, you for real? She's like, every time she started sitting close by, she's like, every time we plan something, it falls through. And now here we are alone with no interruptions. And all you want to do is talk. So I was like, this bitch is scheming. So at the end of the day, Will's still a boy. He's still a man. So he takes that as like, okay, I'm down. They start kissing, taking clothes off. You know what that leads to, but they're not going to show it because they still minors on this. So start taking clothes off, whatever. So it flashes back to the football content, the football collab party or whatever is over. Hillary done changed out of her she had this little small, little skimpy football, tight little cheerleader outfit on, whatever, when they played the game. She done changed back into some regular clothes. To me, I'm thinking like she dressed like she about to go out. She probably about to go pop up on Jazz. We'll get to that. So I'm thinking like, because she tells LaMarcus in this moment, she was like, the content party. I mean, she was like, the content we got today was so great. She was like, the fans are going to love it and the haters are going to wish they had it, da-da-da. And Marcus was like, we make a good team. He was like, all right, the night doesn't have to end. He was like, I'm still trying to get your sexy ass in the hot tub. She's smiling. She's like, you know, I'm tired. I'm just going to have to take a rain check on that. And I'm in my head like, shoot, either you had that outfit on before you changed it to the little outfit for the party, or you about to go out because that outfit didn't look like I'm tired. I'm about to call it a night. But she was like, I'm going to take a rain check. So the Marcus was like, man, I want you bad. You know how people get after a party or whatever, you know, they get in their little fields. They done had some liquor in them, some weed if they smoke. They be trying to get that they be trying to get that yeah after the party over. They trying to hit up their yeah and yeah, you know. So that's what I felt like he was getting. He was like, man, I want you bad, but you know, he trying to still be respectful. He was like, whatever you want, I'm gonna go with it. He was like, I'm gonna be here whenever you want. take as much time as you need, telling her that, so he's still being respectful as possible. But it's the after party. He probably had a few drinks. He trying, So, how people get. So, and that's a universal thing. That ain't even about race, child. You get a few drinks and you in a party, you want that thing at the end of the night. So, so now we back with Jackie and Will. Jackie putting her clothes on. They want us to put together that they just had sex or whatever. So Will done smashed 2 already. He took Lisa virginity. So Will asking Jackie, like, you good? Asking her if she good. Like, he smashed. Like, is you good out here in these streets? So she was like, yeah. So she looks at him. He's still looking irritated, like he still want to know. So she was like, well, but you not good, are you? She asked Will that. So she walks close and was like, all right, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I guess she thought the box was going to make him not want to talk about it, but that still was on his mind. That probably was on his mind the whole time they were smashing. And she thought that was going to steer him away from talking about it. But she gets the, look, I'll tell you anything you want to know. So, and then I guess in this moment, she probably thinking now that they smashed, he would probably feel more connected to her, even if she tell him the truth about her only talking to him in the first place because of Doc. So that's what I felt from that too. So he gets the so he asked her, did you know what Doc was doing? So she nods her head, yes. She was like, I couldn't talk about it. She was like, yeah, he was my uncle. And then she was like, but my feelings for you were very real, and this got messy fast. And Will was like, oh my God, this is fucked up, Jackie. Like, start going off like, this is fucked up. So Jackie was like, well, my uncle just needed he needed your uncle's help. He's like, doctors need your uncle's help. So Will was like, what you mean? Like, and I was looking confused. So I was like, what does Phil have to do with this? I mean, he was looking geeking before he got Will to sign. When he found out Will had that rich uncle, he was geeked up. So at this moment, we find out why. So Will was like, what do you mean my uncle's help? So Jackie was like, well, he got connections. He was running for DA. He got his own firm, all that stuff. So Will was like, how do you know all this? So she was like, well, Doc said your uncle could be an asset. And Will was like, wow. So Doc was plotting to get my uncle the whole time, and you knew about it, saying this to Jackie. And Jackie was like, well, I didn't know all the details. And Will was like, damn, Jack, like looking real hurt. He was like, damn, Jackie. And Jackie was like, maybe I should go. Will was like, you think? Well, he didn't say you think, but he was like, yeah, you should go. I'm pretty sure everybody watching was like, yeah, you should go. He finally found out about your dumb ass. So now I'm like, maybe Will and Lisa might get back together. I mean, she's still with Drew right now, but they didn't put this stuff into her head about him leaking the video, and then he came to her about Connor and Carlton, so Lisa might not be with Drew for long. Maybe season 3 we'll get Lisa in. Let me wait for my predictions. But speaking of Carlton and Connor, we back with them. They meet up. Carlton telling Connor, like, look, he's like, thanks for meeting me. My mom, she been clocking me because I told her I went for a walk to clear my head. So Connor's like, well, we better make it fast then. So he thanks Connor he was like, man, thanks for throwing yourself under the bus with our moms. Connor was like, man, don't sweat it. He was like, I got you into this mess. And he was like, plus your mom is like super scarier than my mom. And I was like, we saw that, nigga. We saw how you code switched quick as hell when you was talking to Viv. They laugh about that. So then Carlton finally asked Connor, like, what happened that night? What happened that night? Because he was like, because I thought y'all set me up. So Connor was like, nah, man. He was like, you passed out. He was like, and we took your car to get burgers. And then he was like, but Lance, I'm assuming Lance is like the drug dealer dude they went to get the drugs. He was like, but Lance drove all the way to somewhere called the Palace. He was like, drove all the way to the Palace. He was like, then we drove in the rain and we drove to the Pacific. He's like, man, I got hit by a monster wave. He was like, that's how I lost my phone and my dad's watch. So we know he lied about that. So we ain't saying that watch again. He said he left it at the girl house. So what are you gonna lie now and say the girl pawned it? It's not gonna look good for Sydney. Sydney already looked like she already a high school dropout, work at CVS. Now she gonna look like a thief. That sold their father's watch. She ain't gonna want you hanging with her no more. But anyway, he was like, yeah, that's how I lost my dad's watch and my phone, whatever. So Carlton was like, well, that explains the sand in my car, the sand that they found in my car. Carlton was like, yeah, we ran out of gas. So he's like, man, I didn't even know how I got home. Carlton was like, I don't even know how I got home. So they laugh about that. Carlton's like, man, another Carlton and Connor adventure. Damn, it's a tongue twister. He's like, another Carlton and Connor adventure. And they laugh about that. Connor was like, yep, since Miss Peterson's kindergarten class. So now I found out what I found out, because I don't know if they said this before, because like I said, I'd be high on remembering. But now I found out that they've been friends since kindergarten. I thought they only been friends since they got to high school. But now we found out they've been friends since kindergarten. So it's just like, damn, you been letting them say nigga all this time? But anyway, so Connor was like, I'm surprised that you called your mom to pick you up. So Carlton was like, well, I didn't know anybody's number by heart. I didn't have anybody's number memorized. And he says, plus, she was the only one that would believe me. And I'm like, believe your lies, right? I'm in my head like, believe your lies, right? Because you lied. So I'm assuming he's saying that she was the only one that would believe his lies. So he gets she's the only one that tries to see the best in me. And Connor was like, well, that's a mom for you. And he was like, well, that's not my mom. So now we know, like, Connor low-key wish he had a mom like Viv, I guess. So then Connor was like, look, I'm out of chances with my family. He's like, so this can't happen again. He's like, you got Jeffrey snooping around, and I got this therapist. He's like, plus my parents, and now Will. So Connor was like, oh, so you want to stop? You want to, like, chill? Carlton was like, no, I just mean, like, we have to be more careful. And I was like, oh, my God, this nigga Carlton. So Carlton was like, you got the stuff? And Connor hands him the drugs or whatever. He was like, enjoy, my boy. So then we get this little quick scene. Hillary does show. I knew her ass wasn't going home. I knew she was going to the damn meet and greet. So she shows up at Jazz's meet and greet. And she sees him dancing with these two chicks. And it's not even, like, real freaking. I'll say freaking because I remember back in my day, they had freak parties. They called them freak parties. You dance in the dark and you dance on the dude or whatever. But they had freak parties, so I'm calling it freaking. So they wasn't even, like, freaking on him hard or nothing. So it was just like, why you get so upset? So she sees, and then plus y'all broke up. You broke up with him. So it's like she sees him dancing with these two girls, not even dancing on him hard, freaking on him hard. So I guess she gets upset. She storms away. And as soon as she storms away, Jazz looks over to where she was standing. She gone already. So they miss each other. Like right then, they miss each other. The whole time, Jazz been watching for her the whole night. So it's just like, that's crazy. So she immediately goes back to LaMarcus's house. She like, that hot tub invite still on the table. So I'm just like, really? Like, all that because you saw him dancing with two chicks? And he been looking for you the whole night, waiting for you to come the whole night. It's crazy. So he was like, they start kissing. Then he pick her up, carry her into the house. And I'm just like, I hope they don't smash, because I don't think Jazz gonna smash nobody that night. But it's just like, whatever. It's seeming that way. Hot tub, drinks flowing. What you think? What y'all think? So is this the final scene? Yep, this the final scene. So Phil and Jeffrey, they pop up on Doc. And the bodyguard, he gets up, big ass nigga. He gets up, stands beside Doc, like holding his waistband where his gun at or whatever. Jeffrey, he gets the big man. You don't want them type of problems, man. You don't want to do that. He says that. I think the whole time I think Jeffrey is British, and that accent I just did sounded hella Jamaican. I don't know. Side note, two people this week asked me was I Jamaican. Like, is it because of the dreads? I don't know, but he was like a big man. Says, what do you say? Big man, you don't want to be making that move. Trust me. So Doc gestures to his bodyguard, chill out. He was like, don't do nothing, buddy. He was like, I've been expecting these gentlemen. So Phil gets straight to it. He was like, well, Will seems to think that you got a plan and you using me to help you, such and such. And Doc gets to sit, have a seat, Mr. Banks. Like, we could talk. Phil's like, nah, I ain't even hear all that. I ain't even here for all that. I just wanted to tell you that. I want to tell you so we clear. He was like, whatever you thought was gonna happen, it's over. He was like, he's like, whatever you thought was gonna happen with me involved, like, it's over. It's not happening. So Doc gets the it's a reason why my players don't know what I do. So when the shit hits the fan, it'll all fall on me type stuff. Which is cool in a sense but at the end of this conversation, that don't make sense. So and then Phil was like plausible deniability, and Doc was like exactly. So he gets to, I'm sure you by now have heard of my business partner. So Phil and Jeffrey, they look at each other. You know, they did they digging. And by the end of this conversation, we found out Doc did too. So he was like, yeah, I know you heard of my business partner, Lorenzo, by now. He was like, we was like brothers and we ran the neighborhood together. And Jeffrey was like, so what happened? Trying to get their own story because they pretty much know what happened. So Lorenzo was like, Lorenzo started saying the shit that Lorenzo did is what Doc doing now. So he was like, well, Lorenzo started taking money from street dudes. He was like, he emphasizes on a lot of money. It's like a lot of money from street dudes. He says in return they wanted a piece of the players and their futures. So then Jeffrey was like, so suddenly you had a conscience? Because like, this ain't making sense. This is exactly what you're doing right now. Except you're not doing it with street dudes. You're doing it with like actual, like real agents and scouts and stuff. So he was like, what, you all of a sudden had a conscience? So Doc was like, I ain't say all of that. So it was like, we know that. Like, obviously. So he was like, he just was like, at the time, he wasn't ready to expose his team to all of that type of stuff. So Phil was like, so what happened? You and Lorenzo parted ways? So Doc was like, look, he was like, I even tried to buy Lorenzo out. He was like, but he would rather see me and Zenith burn to the ground than to see us succeed without him. So Phil was like, okay, well, none of that concerns me. He was like, none of that concerns me. All I came to tell you is like, Will no longer be playing for your team. None of that concerns me. Will's not playing for y'all no more, period. And in this moment, I was like, this is the third time that I've heard Uncle Phil say period. Stop making that grown man say period. He is not no city girl from Miami or something like that. Stop making him say period. That stuff pisses me off. Like, stop that. It's the third time I heard Uncle Phil say period. And I was like, why do they think it's not fetch? Stop trying to make fetch happen. That makes me upset. But yeah, stop making Uncle Phil say fetch. I mean, period. I was supposed to say fetch. But yeah, he was like, Will's not playing for your team, period. So, but then Doc was like, he was like, man, I wish it was that easy. And as they said, as Phil says this, like, he ain't playing for the team no more, period. They walking away, him and Jeffrey. So Doc was like, man, I wish it was that easy. So they turned around. Jeffrey's like, what does that mean? So Doc was like, well, Lorenzo know all my secrets, and he threatened to expose me if I don't give him what he want. So Jeffrey was like, expose you like an investigation. So Doc was like, yeah, that means that every player on the team would be ineligible to play college ball. So that was like, that contradicts everything you just said earlier in this conversation. Because you said, well, he did say it was back then when he had his old team, I guess. But he was saying he didn't want to expose his players to the situation that was going on with Lorenzo. But now you're saying if he exposes you, that puts your players in jeopardy of not being able to play. So it's just like contradiction. But either way, he was like, well, yeah, no kids would be able to play. None of the players would be able to play. They'd be ineligible to play college ball. And then Phil was like, damn, that includes Will. So Jeffrey drops his head like shit. So they like, damn. So, where am I? So that's when Phil was like, damn. So he's like, what do you want from me, Doc? So Doc was like, well, he was like, this thing with me and Lorenzo been brewing for a while. And he was like, I knew I could use a man like you, Mr. Banks or whatever. He was like, you know, we more alike than you think. And Phil was like, we ain't nothing alike. So he was like, we ain't nothing alike. So Doc was like, oh yeah. He was like, I ain't never used none of my connections to get anybody out of a gun charge. He's like, I ain't never used my connections to get anybody out of a gun charge. So Phil and Jeffrey, they looking at each other like how the hell he knows? Like, so Doc did his research too, just like they did. So Doc was like, that's some gangster shit right there. So Doc was like, he was like, well, the way I see it, things don't have to be bad between us. He's like, especially when there's an arrangement to be had. So Phil was like, an arrangement? Doc was like, yeah, I just need a little bit of that Philip Banks gangster shit. So I was like, oh man, it's about to be wild. And then they flash to Will. He's sitting in his room. He, like, you could hear all the flashes back to all the men in his life, telling him this, telling him that. Doc, you even hear his father Lou, Uncle Phil. So you just hear all that. And that's how I go off. So as I said, I rate this genre Dang, what did I rate it at the beginning? I said B plus or maybe A minus. Because it was kind of good. I just feel like Phil getting in all these situations. Like, damn. My predictions, like I said, though, I think season 3, Will and Lisa might end up together. Carlton going out bad. He back on the drugs, back hanging with Connor, making them season 1 decisions. And now Phil, he getting in all these situations. What is this arrangement with Doc about to be about? And the situation with his firm. Lee about to be working close with this woman. So I don't know how that's about to play out. I hope Hillary don't sleep with LaMarcus, because I don't think Jazz gonna sleep with nobody. They need to get back together. I want them to back together. Will Ashley start talking to the little white girl because she's queer? I don't know. Give Ashley more scenes. That's what I said. Is that it? And yeah. We don't need Jackie. We don't need to see Jackie anymore. I hope he don't get back with Jackie. I'm here for him and Lisa. But Lisa naive if she think Drew is here for her, for real. I mean, he probably is here for her, but he's still sneaky and wild, so. But yeah, those are my predictions for episodes to come. Thank y'all for watching the video. Again, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel. And yeah, we out of here. See y'all next time. Peace.